Records of the Unknown, Operation Latency, contains horror elements that may be disturbing to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
You are listening to an Atomic Broadcasting production, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the feature presentation. And remember, do your part, such as like, comment, rate, and don't forget to tell a friend to tune in for an Atomic Time.
November 17th, 7:58 p.m. The three of you have just stepped back into the town circle from the sheriff's office. Sheriff Gibson is leading you to the outskirts of town. As you step out, who has the highest alertness here?
I have 70.
40.
60.
Corporal Adams. As you guys are stepping out of the town circle, you're going to take a glance, and across town there is just this old woman staring at you. Then you're kind of led out of sight of her. You're led to this small house. Looks like it's got enough room for like a business, and then like a small housing bit in the back and a bit of an upstairs. And he takes you inside, and he yells, "Hey, Peter, are you downstairs?" You guys hear?
Yes. What's going on?
And he's like,
Hold on.
and then he's like, "Follow me," and he takes you guys to a basement. And down there it gets pretty cold. You see there's a man down there looking at a body on a slab, taking lots of notes. He's got curly hair and glasses and moving rather quickly. You guys can see there are 3 bodies. 2 of them have a sheet over them. One of them is the one that he's currently investigating. He's like, Sheriff, hello. Sheriff, who are these 3? These are federal agents, Peter. They're here to look into some things. Right. Okay. Hi. I'm Dr. Peter Kent.
Pleasure to meet you, Dr. Kent. The sheriff has directed us this way because, as I understand, you had been helping the Miss Bunsen with her research on the local wildlife.
He kind of looks at the sheriff kind of nervously. He's like, "Yes, I was helping her out for a while here. You're here asking about that research?"
That's one part of why we're here.
Oh, okay. I'm a little, and he kind of looks down at himself. He's got like a lot of kind of blood over him, and he's holding on to these like pristine small intestines coming out of the body. I'm kind of in the middle of this. If you could give me a minute maybe to wash up and talk to the sheriff about this.
Actually, I'm quite curious to know more information about these 3.
He looks really nervous and looks over at the sheriff again, and the sheriff kind of nods. He's like, "Okay, yes. Well, so these small intestines," and he starts kind of pulling them out. They're in just pristine condition, just like the doctor's heart. They are fabulous and untouched like everything else. And he motions to like, there's a jar with a heart in it. Would be his father's heart.
Yeah, he said the doctor. I was like, that's your dad, right?
Right?
But it's just like this, and of course we already knew about Bobby's liver, which according to my dad's notes, was not as good as it is right now. Small intestines, same deal. That's all else I can find. I haven't been able to notice anything else, but this is quite fascinating and very interesting. I've got some more tests to run to see if maybe there's something in the DNA that's different, or perhaps something that's, I don't know, different. See how it's working, how it's activated.
They certainly are different from the rest of the subject.
Yes, the rest of it's been...
Did you see Bobby in here in the last 2 weeks? Come by the office for like upset
Aside from
stomach?
right now?
Yes.
Um,
Did he come in as a patient asking for maybe upset stomach, maybe just a really bad hangover?
I haven't been in town a lot lately. But no, I haven't noticed him. Dan often makes the miners come in for a checkup every 6 months or so to check on their lungs. The mines aren't always very great for them, and we try to take care of them as best as they can. Dad kind of stopped having me help out a while back, which was worked out fine. I was able to finish getting my doctorate, and I got to start helping Henriette on the research. So I've been keeping quite busy there.
You said you have not been in town a whole lot lately.
No, I haven't.
What have you been up to? House calls or?
Well, no, I've been
research?
with Henriette.
Henriette.
Yeah, she doesn't. She has a small place a few miles east of here, where she does most of her research. I spend a lot of time over there. It's not too long of a walk.
I don't mean to change gears here, Doctor.
Yes.
I'm Agent Adams.
Oh, hi.
We are aware of 2 of these corpses. Who's the third? We are aware of your father and
Right. The sheriff jumps in. He's like, "It's not that important." Sorry, I see the looks. That's Tommy Haverfield. He died of an accident about a month ago.
any related symptoms to the other 2?
Not as far as we could tell. And then Peter jumps in. He was quite electrocuted. He was working on a generator, and something shorted out, and a lot of nasty burns. I was actually his body's still here, of course. We were going to bury him, and then the other murder happened. I've only recently gotten a chance to look back over his body to try and find connections. I haven't, and the sheriff just said he hasn't found anything that connects them. So right now, don't worry about the third body. I don't mean to sound cryptic when I say that, but I'd rather not waste any more resources on that. That's already open and shut.
I'm just trying to cover our bases, Sheriff.
I understand. Sorry, I didn't mean to come across as aggressive about that. But
I will reach into my bag and pull out my Geiger counter that we were given. I would like to just flick it on just to see if there's anything in here that's gonna...
So, just standard in the room, when you first turn it on, there is very occasional little like crackle. As you start getting closer to the body that's open right now, so Bobby Newman, it starts to crackle more a bit. The sheriff's like, "What is that? What are you doing?"
Sheriff, this is a Geiger counter. It detects radioactivity, and it's beginning to show an abnormal amount around this body. Doctor, you might want to take a few steps back.
That's so very interesting. I haven't had the chance to test that yet. Geiger counter, radiation. That's very interesting. And the sheriff's like, radiation, like those plants.
Indeed. Like I said earlier, I believe our investigation and your investigation may have a little bit more in common than we first thought.
I see. I wonder, Sheriff, if that explains anything about the fish.
Fish?
Well, I hadn't thought about it. If it's getting in, if it has something to do with, if this radiation has something to do with the deaths, the fishermen have been finding more. I guess I would use the word contaminated fish that they've had to separate out. In fact, they brought home a 2-headed fish at one point. It was quite interesting. Old sailors' myths and such about such things, not good luck. But that could be interesting. I'd like to get my hands on one of those fish. But it doesn't seem like there's much radiation. Can you bring that closer? He grabs your arm.
Okay,
Like,
I'll let him.
it never really gets much.
Okay.
Like, it's more than
more than it should be.
probably should be, but it's really not much. It kind of, he's like, I was hoping there'd be more. That is very interesting.
And you're able to find them over just the two patients, or in the third?
I'll run it over.
So you go over Uriah's body, it's even fainter, and then if you run it over Tommy's body, it's not really just a standard what it was doing in the other side of the room, as if there's just general amounts of a little bit of radiation in the room.
Unfortunate for Tommy, but at least we provided a decent control.
Yes, we're actually I probably need to prepare Tommy's body for the funeral tomorrow. It's been a while, and I think you were good with that body.
Certainly, and do keep good record of where he's interred, of course. Be curious if anything comes up later.
Where I bury him?
Yes.
Well, there's only one place to do that, so yes. I wonder. He puts the small intestines down. I'm going to go wash up real quick, if that's all right.
Certainly. When he steps out, I'd like to direct my attention back to the Sheriff Gibson. Sheriff, have you been hearing any other news from around town of, like, strange wildlife? He mentioned, of course, the fishermen have come with two-headed fish.
There's nothing... I don't know why he jumped on that. It's been like that for a couple of years. They'll find some stuff like that, and then they just get tossed as part of the job. It's just, people say it has to do with the town name, and all this stuff keeps happening, and, but it's not like it's very often. It's just the occasional messed up fish. They see it as like an old wives' tale, a little bad luck for whoever finds it. It's nothing I'm concerned about.
Do you know of anyone else coming through, like, strange symptoms of cold or bad food poisoning, perhaps?
Like any, like just townsfolk coming into the doctors?
Or just perhaps you hear around town of people just kind of getting sick or sicker.
No, I haven't noticed anything like that. Not anything different. Not in regards to sickness.
Okay. And I understand, of course, you don't get very many visitors often, perhaps for the first in a while. Have you noticed
not that long.
Have you noticed anyone else, perhaps strange or unexpected, or just not a common townsperson, come by in the past week, month?
Well, we get those Germans come by every now and again.
Germans.
What Germans?
There was a couple of guys who moved in a few miles away about 2-3 years ago. They come into town for supplies and such every now and again, but they usually aren't around. They're pretty nice folk. I'm sure you might see him around town. Johann Henson. He lives around town. He talks to Carl a lot.
Who's Carl?
Carl Klein. Yeah. One of the fishermen.
At the mention of German people nearby, Bernadette gets visibly unsettled.
Corporal Adams tenses up a little bit, too.
You don't really see much of a change in demeanor for Dr. Steele.
But yeah, like I said, I think of them as always more recent, I guess, than they are, because not a lot of new people in town, and they only come in every now and again. Henriette comes in and out. You guys came in recently. There's a guy I hadn't seen before with Johann last time, but we don't really get a lot of people, and they've never come in with sickness, so I'm hoping if it has something maybe to do with the mine, I might be able to get something if I fought this whole last week to get Dan to let me investigate in the mine, but he can't close it down, he says.
Did he give you a reason why he can't?
Well, work's gotta keep going, and it's kind of dangerous to just walk in there and look poking around. It's not the safest environment, as he puts it, but I don't know. It feels like every time I try something or have an idea, he just shoots it down immediately, and unfortunately, he's got a lot more weight to throw around in that regard. I can't really force him to shut it down. It helps run the town, so I don't know what's been going on with all this stuff, but if it's radiation, like you said, that gives me more reason to keep Henriette there and under watch.
Why do you say that?
Well, she's messing with the radioactive plants all the time, and now people are dead with radiation-related things, so...
That does not mean that she's behind it. That's speculation, Sheriff. You should know that.
She might be one of the only ones that can give us some answers. But I understand your caution, Sheriff. You just want to keep your town safe.
If you guys are going to look into this so much, and you care that much about the doctor, why don't you just keep an eye on her? And I'll let her walk around with you guys.
That works for me, Sheriff.
Can't really always keep me or Lucas in the office all day, every day, so it's getting a little... That's why we don't keep her very long when we do. Yeah, if that works for all of you, we can't spare the time to watch the cell this long.
That's agreeable to me, Sheriff.
And then the doctor comes out a little cleaner. Did you have any more questions about this? Sorry, I was feeling a little sticky. He pulls the blanket over the body.
Before you do that, I would like to get a closer look at the gentleman.
Oh, sure, yes.
And I try to look, perhaps like look at their eyes. Imagine they've also kind of been decayed, and look at like their hands, their fingernails as well. Just kind of, again, giving my own once over of them. We didn't have images of them before.
That's true. Do you have a skill to roll?
I have search of 40. I would imagine I'd use surgery, medicine, or first aid, unless I'm applying them. Or well, medicine. Maybe.
I would think medicine would probably apply. Surgery could even possibly apply because, as I mentioned, it's kind of violent what happened to them. So like.
Okay. So yeah, my surgery is at 70. So that's much better than my search.
I will open that to you if you want to roll.
Okay. That is a 79 over 70.
Oh my gosh! What is with the cursed tonight?
Just slightly over.
Gosh, every time.
Because the doctor is with you, and he's been looking over these, and you're kind of looking at it with him, I'll actually give you a plus 10% on the roll.
Okay.
Which would give you the success.
Thank you, Handler.
I was thinking about it, and then you rolled the dice, and I was like... So as he's kind of pointing things out, you see the body is... It looks like near the right shoulder, kind of towards the back, the bones are bent, and like there's a hole. Like there was a very sudden, like, and violent burst of some sort, which is why they address the violence of the situation, why it doesn't feel like just a virus. The body, looking over the, like, organs and such, you would need a lot more time to confirm what he suspects about them, but you could kind of get the vibe looking at them that they do kind of look like, as he was saying, like they, like muscles, as you work them, you work out, they like consume like calories, they work all that stuff out of you. It's like they all worked overtime to the point of like there's nothing left, so it consumes itself almost. I don't know how that necessarily would look, but I would vibe that you kind of get that. You would need a lot of time to actually confirm that.
Yeah, I wasn't planning to get inside there.
Another thing, when you're looking over the fingernails, they look like normal miners, like fingernails. There's nothing. As you're looking through there, there's the regular kind of stuff you'd expect. Nothing crazy. On the back of his hand, because you are using surgery, it looks like there's a almost invisible, like because of how faint it is and how slight, like an incision scar.
Okay.
It looks very like purposeful and not like I cut himself or something like that.
I don't want to point that out to Dr. King.
Was there anything else particular you were looking for on this body?
Imagine their jaw's a bit slack, their teeth look perhaps normal care or anything like that. Also, it's kind of same.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hole you mentioned, it looks like it burst out, or something like went in.
There are some bones that are slightly moved like an out, but there are some slightly moved like an in. Like looking at it, you would get the vibe of like it does look like something burst out, but then looking at it more, you're like, but it also looks like something like blasted against it.
And you mentioned, of course, like the bones are bent. Is it like the bones are broken and out and like
yeah,
like
that, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if like the bones are warped in another.
No, not necessarily warped, but kind of broken.
Yes. Okay.
In those ways.
Something certainly violent, but aside from the state of the way it decayed. Nothing else unnatural necessarily. Kind of directing around the hole that was on the back. Dr. Kent, did you see very much the same with former Dr. Kent?
Yes, actually, on his leg.
His leg.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. He walks over, pulls up
Yeah,
pulls
cover
up
this one
the
up.
blanket over the leg, and he's like, kind of similar, a little less violent. It's almost like it's more of a purposeful removal of the flesh as opposed to a violent burst on his leg. Which the leg looked very good, like it hadn't been deteriorated or whatever we want to call it. But with the burst there, the leg is pretty messed up. Only other thing on him was the heart.
Yes. Not stating it to him, of course, but having seen that strange and faded incision on the previous patient, I would like to try and see if I find anything similar. Like, just glancing over again. I don't want to draw attention to it.
Roll surgery.
That is a 50 under 70.
All right. Yes. You kind of. Are you wanting to give like his whole body like a look over?
Kind of just, yeah, also like I'm performing a look over of it.
Almost in the same spot. The last guy had a burst. So the back, his right shoulder, kind of a little bit behind it, there is a small incision.
Interesting. Dr. Kent, did your father perhaps keep medical records of the patients he saw?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
I've been looking over them, try and, take over.
If you wouldn't mind, I would perhaps like to kind of take a look through that for who he's had for the past year.
I'm a little uncomfortable fully doing that, patient-doctor privileges and such.
Of course, I understand that, but it is a matter of importance.
That is
this
fair.
investigation.
I could probably do that. Yes, I think most of them. Yes.
Of course. Perhaps you can guide me to where the office is kept.
Yes. He opens the door. It's like a closet with a bunch of records. Right here.
Ah, of course.
It's not a very big house.
How is this sorted? Or just
Are
the most recent on top?
I've been working on deciphering it.
Okay. Excellent. I hope your father had at least decent handwriting.
I will be keeping an eye on the sheriff, but not like obviously, but like I want to know what his facial expressions are with everything you guys are talking about, and like
What is your psychoanalysis? Sorry, human int.
just the base 10.
Do you want to try and roll that?
No.
Okay. So he looks pretty, like he's just kind of pretty stern, just staring. Since you're actually looking and the doctor's not super great at hiding, he does keep kind of glancing back to the sheriff kind of nervously.
That's why I was asking.
Especially when you guys are asking questions.
Just again, over the past, because again, the doctor died 2 weeks ago.
More like a month ago.
A month ago, okay. I don't want to waste too much time for our evening to hear on this, of course, so I might come back, but thank you, Dr. Kent, of course. I see that it is, of course, getting a bit later in the evening. I don't want us to keep up all night.
Yes,
this.
I probably should have dinner.
Yes. I probably will return with further questions and would take some time to look over some of these records.
Yes, I'd be, I can probably help you unless there's a lot of patients. I haven't looked at the schedule yet.
Yes, of course. Always busy as a doctor.
Maybe.
Of course, our third patient here on the board that was electrocuted, unfortunately.
Oh yes, Tommy. How unfortunate. He had finally found a career for him.
May I look at his legs?
Why?
Just out of curiosity.
To be completely honest, he's not really involved in any of this. I'd rather you not take a look at him. It doesn't feel quite right to me. Especially so soon to his burial.
I'm not looking to, of course, tamper with the body at all. I'm just wanting to look at...
I know, but it doesn't feel right to do that. You understand what I'm saying? You understand why I say this? I understand helping...
I certainly, of course, understand respect for the dead. Of course, I am finding it hard to believe from you after you were elbow deep in that fellow over there.
Oh, that's awfully rude of you. I have great respect for the past. I'm just a doctor doing my job.
Yes, of course, sir. But I'm an agent trying to do mine.
I don't really... I know that you're trying to do your I just don't think this has to do with that. We're pretty confident on that, and I'd rather not jeopardize anything with him, with his body. You know, I don't want to expose it to more than I already have. I already was not comfortable looking over the body a second time. I'd rather not look over it a third.
Has he been looking over at the sheriff while this is going on? Like, he seems really nervous about this.
He did kind of early on, but earlier on in this, when this conversation started, he was, but now he's kind of just focused on what's happening in front of him.
I'm sure wouldn't be nothing but a cursory glance, of course, at him. Just drop the blanket here, of course, to look at his legs. I don't mean to look at his torso.
At this point, the sheriff jumps in. He's like, "You don't need to waste any time on this. It's getting late. I already agreed to let you guys help me look into these murders. This is already open and shut. We need to get things going."
Sheriff, it is our experience that sometimes things that seem absolutely disconnected from the current situation really have more to reveal than they might seem at first. I think it would be of great benefit to let Agent Steele just take a look. Less than 5 minutes.
All right, fine, so we can get out of here.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, yes, okay, sure, okay, sure, yes. The doctor lifts up the legs.
Having personally noted before that the incision was on the doctor's shoulder, I'm going to try to look around the legs and see if perhaps there's an incision on this fellow.
Would you roll surgery?
Yeah.
The legs are pretty, almost burned.
I imagine they would be. He was electrocuted. We don't know of any other person that had any sort of leg injury at this point. Well, at least third body here, at least check it. 22, under 70.
Critical success.
Critical success. You are critically aware that there is no incision.
Okay, it's good to be safe.
Yeah.
Because again, I want to check the records for anyone say leg injury or something weird about that, but thought at least check the third body.
You just only want to look at the legs?
Well, of course, you were pushing back. I didn't want to be too rude, but I could look over more of him as well. Imagine his legs quite burnt. Yes, he was quite electrocuted.
Yeah, it's quite a nasty sight.
Yes, of course.
I can show you more if you need it.
Certainly, yes. Let's take, again, not too long here.
Okay. Pulls it open. Just use regular doctor incisions and such. But other than that, it just looks like a burned corpse from the electricity. Like he was probably electrocuted for quite some time.
Dr. Kent, are you both doctor and mortician for this small town?
Yes,
Okay.
more or less.
So yes, you prepare them for burial as well as tend to the living.
Yes.
Okay.
I
good
try
know.
to push for cremations. It's a lot easier, but I haven't gotten to do any.
Thanks for the insights tonight. I'm sure I'll be back with further questions of mine. Of course, my compatriots here are welcome if they have any further questions.
I don't have anything.
Great.
We appreciate your time.
Of course. I'm here if you need me. Well, I'll be at the bar getting food. I'm quite hungry.
Enjoy your dinner, Doctor.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
He kind of looks at you guys like,
We'll leave.
Yeah. Imagine we leave
I'm
with
not
the
leaving
sheriff.
before you people.
Yes, yeah.
He locks up. Good night.
What time is it at this point?
All the looking around, I'd say it's getting close to 9.
I think we should look into getting our accommodations and maybe calling it a night. It's been quite a day, and we will work on collecting Miss Bunsen in the morning, as we discussed previously, Sheriff.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
And then we might also go talk to Dan in the morning as well, see if maybe we can get that mine closed for you.
That'd be great.
But we've had a long day, so I think we're going to head back and talk to Mr. Stein about our accommodations.
Oh, well, Dad, yeah, he should be able to find something for him.
We've already spoken with him once today.
I imagine so. Alright, well, I'm heading back to the office.
We will see you tomorrow, Sheriff.
Sounds good.
Have a good night, Sheriff.
Hey.
Once the sheriff's out of earshot, I'm going to look over at Agent Steele. Find anything interesting in there?
Yes, on the two that were desiccated, as it were. They had small incisions on them that were quite hard to note. I didn't want to bring it up there and draw Kent's curiosity again.
Smart.
One thing to note, and that's why I want to check the third body, is that the former doctor, that he had the incision on his shoulder, roughly in the same place that the miner's next injury was. Now, of course, we didn't have anyone else to go off of at this time, so I thought might as well check the third body we had available to us to see if maybe that one had an incision on the leg. But
Dr. Kent was being very cagey about that third body. I didn't like that.
yes, him and the sheriff were a bit cagey about that third body. I was just a bit curious, and we didn't have much more information to go off of what was in the room. I do plan to come back to check those records for any odd ailments that were previously recorded. Certainly, of course, need to ask what kind of experiments have been happening around here. And I was quite unsettled in meeting young Dr. Kent and his strange curiosity in handling of that poor miner.
He also seemed less emotional than I would have expected, being in the presence of his father's corpse.
I also noted that. It was very odd.
Certainly. Yeah, so that's why I wanted to kind of not key him in on too much at this point in time anyways. His fascination with this subject, and perhaps even helping Henriette Bunsen, is perhaps concerning for what we're looking into. But
Well, hopefully we can get some more answers from Henriette tomorrow. It is getting late, and we've had a long day of travel, and we won't be of use to anyone if we're exhausted. So I recommend we find Mr. Stein and see if he's got beds for us.
I agree. Certainly we good to rest for the night. Hopefully we can get a good start next morning. I have some plans for perhaps where I want to look over next. I think I might want to get a look at Henriette's research without her there. And I know Dr. Kent mentioned that she kept her place out to the east.
Yes, finding it without a guide of some sort might be difficult, but it might be a good idea to visit there without her first. We'll head back to wherever it is we can find Ronald Stein.
So, people are still going in and out of the bar as you walk past it, but you see there's still a light on in the dockmaster's house. So you just make your way over there.
Knock on the door.
Ah, hello.
Good evening, Mr. Stein.
Everything go all right today?
So far so good. Just preliminary investigations, that sort of thing. We spoke with the sheriff. We spoke with Dr. Kent. We'll have more people to speak to tomorrow. But we've had a long day. We were wondering if you had found some beds for us.
I ran into Peter Kent outside just a few minutes ago, and he didn't seem positive about you people when I brought you up. He didn't seem to like you very much. I don't know why. He usually likes most people. He seemed a little frustrated. I don't know. I was gonna ask him. He's got kind of a room up in his upstairs, but I also checked in with Alan, and he's got some space you guys could stay in. It's more comfortable than my place here. Alan Haley, he runs the bar.
Okay.
He's a pretty nice guy. I like Alan.
Any relation to Dan Haley?
They're brothers, but Alan's pretty great. You guys learn anything you were looking for?
Well, I'm sure you're quite curious, sir. I must inform you again that is classified information.
That's fine.
I know this is a small town, of course. I'm sure you'll get your hero through the grapevine soon enough from people that we ask questions from.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking to Peter. I imagine you were looking at the bodies.
Classified.
That's fair. If you head over to the bar, you can find Alan in there, and he can point you guys to a room.
Thank you, Mr. Stein.
No problem. You come find me if you need anything. I'm available. I'll be kind of busy for a while, but you could always find me.
We will. Thank you.
I have a question for Mr. Stein. So, in some of our questions that we had for people, we got some stories of two-headed fish coming out of the water here.
Oh, yeah.
How common is that?
Every other trip at this or so, we get like one of those. We get a couple of fish that just aren't
right.
Yeah, aren't suitable for consumption. So we kind of toss them, dispose of them.
Is there something else going on with them besides the fact that they have an extra head?
I don't know. Some of them are a little off color. We've started getting better at catching them, but like sometimes they make the people a little sicker.
Yeah.
Bad fish. A lot of the guys talk about it as back, old wives' tales about the town's name, and just bad luck finding these things for the guys.
Right. Have you found that they are more localized in a certain area than others?
No. Not that we've found. I mean, it's been a couple of years of this. Back to like a long time. I can't remember when we weren't finding things like this, Not. I feel like they've gotten a little more common in the last couple of years, but it might just be that we're noticing it better.
Gotcha.
Nothing we've ever really been too concerned on. We don't lose like much. We don't really lose too much,
My last question before I go. Have you noticed anything strange in the water?
What do you mean?
I don't know. Just large objects, weird colors, just anything out of the ordinary.
I haven't.
Have you heard any stories?
Well, I was gonna say you might check in with Abe. He runs fishing voyages for me. I don't always hear everything that happens when they're out, so he might be able to fill in some more on that. Again, they're going to be pretty busy too. They're actually heading out for another voyage in about 3 days.
Okay.
So they'll be gone for at least a week.
Okay.
What was Abe's full name?
Abe Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Stein. Another question. For the fish that have been popping up too, I know you dispose of them. Do you know if anyone has kept a specimen around, just out of curiosity, as a weird knick-knack?
I don't know. Like I said, most of the boys kind of buy into the superstitions. I don't imagine any of them would want to keep one.
That's understandable.
Understandable.
You mentioned superstitions, and it's not the first time we've heard of that. Is anything specific to finding these fish and connected to local superstition?
Well, the town name means land of the sick, or at least that's what they tell us. Honestly, I have no idea what language that even is. But a lot of people go off of that, and seamen whenever they find weird stuff out on trips, they often try and come up with some reason for it to explain it, have some fun, something. Honestly, I don't even know where these superstitions started. At some point they did. The whole land of the sick thing started long before I was born. So
It was just bad luck to find one of these things, or?
that's what they say. I don't really believe in that myself. But some of the boys feel pretty strong about it. Sometimes they'll skip the next voyage. But like I said, the two-headed ones are not as common as just the bad ones are. We find a lot of the off-color ones every other trip or so. The two-headed ones they're a little rarer, at least from what I hear about them.
Of course, quite a few people around this town. Do you know of anyone in particular that makes their business in hunting, or perhaps just survivalists out here?
Valerie Novikov. She used to do a lot of that while her husband ran the butcher shop, but after he passed away, a few years back, she's kind of taken both the roles.
Novikov. Sounds Russian.
Oh, yeah. Alaska, close by. We have some Russians here. Or with Russian descent. I don't know. I wouldn't claim that they are citizens of Russia. They're good
I should
people.
hope not.
And of course, her husband unfortunately passed a few years back. Was there any kind of word you picked up from talking to the town at that time?
What do you mean? Like, about how...
Was it just unfortunate accident? Was it just due to poor health?
What are you guys' human int scores?
10.
50.
Base 10.
Nolan, will you make a roll?
92.
Oh.
Nope.
Everything seems fine.
Sure it's not 29?
He's like, no, he just had a heart attack.
Thank you for the information.
I didn't hear any rumors or weirdness about it. But yeah, it didn't go well for the family. They're pretty heartbroken. I don't think Valer's really gotten over it.
Of course, my condolences to her as well, but I don't think I have any other questions at this time, Mr. Stein.
Well, all right. You guys have a good night then. I need to get sleeping here in a bit.
We'll leave you to your rest. Thank you.
All right.
Do we want to check if anyone's tampered with the plane before we head back into town?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
You go check on the plane. Nothing seems different.
Good.
Okay, everything seems good.
All right.
You head into the bar. Corporal Adams, with your awareness, as you guys are going in, another guy's going out, and he like sidesteps you, and you hear him go, I believe it's Vesahan. It means excuse me in German. As he kind of slips past you guys as you guys go in. It's pretty lively in here. There's a good chunk of people all having fun. They look like they are separated, as like half the bar are miners and half of it are the fishermen. And there's a couple of people intermingled at the bar stools and such, and they look like they're all having a lively time.
I personally have nothing. I think Bernadette's just gonna try to go to bed after we find out where our rooms are.
Yeah, I look for whoever I think Alan Haley is.
Yeah, so you guys enter in all the loud noise. You head straight for the bartender, and he turns. It's like, you guys must be the new people in town.
You must be Alan Haley.
Alan Haley, yes, sir. At your service. Here, let me step away for a second. I'll show you guys where I've got you. Unless you guys want like a drink or something before you head up.
No, thank you.
No, thank you, sir.
Alrighty, follow me.
All right. Follow.
So he takes you guys upstairs. There is a room with 3 beds set up in it. It looks well taken care of, well furnished. It looks like it used to be a bedroom, but it hasn't been used in some time. They're all just like 3 twin beds. Is this gonna do it? Is this gonna be good for you guys?
This should be fine. Do you have a place for us to wash up?
Yeah. I got a place. It's just down the hall. Water stays pretty cold, so be ready for that.
We'll make do.
It's also downstairs. Sorry. All right. Well, if you need anything, please let me know. We can talk more in the morning, maybe. But I know you guys look pretty tired, and it's getting pretty late. So I'm gonna be closing up soon.
We appreciate your hospitality, Mr. Haley.
Let me know if you need any more blankets. And then he closes the door and heads downstairs.
I was thinking I would like to just kind of, unload stuff, get down to maybe like, not wearing full jacket and whatnot. And I would like to go down to the bar to just drink and hear some more talk of the town, perhaps. Get some drinks, but not staying up too late. He said he was going to close soon, but
Okay. Yeah.
Corporal Adams intentionally avoids going back downstairs.
I'm gonna say you spend a little bit of time down there. You're not really getting much. They all seem very focused on like the fishermen are all talking about getting ready for the voyage. The miners are all just talking about the murder and what might have happened and their frustrations about like the possibility of the mine getting shut down. They all seem very focused on what they're saying. They're not kind of going around with a variety of things to say, so it's nothing really new for you tonight.
Okay. Being our first night, I don't want to draw too much attention to the entire local populace, so I won't intervene on anything.
That is fair. The three of you head to bed and have a peaceful night. And then we fade to black.
Thank you for listening to the Records of the Unknown Operation Latency. Records of the Unknown is an Atomic Broadcasting production. Delta Green is copyright of Arc Dreams Publishing. Operation Latency is not published or endorsed by Arc Dreams Publishing and is an original module created and run by Samuel Sarver. Our players are Nolan as Dr. Sylvester Steele, Abby as Bernadette Birdie Bellamy, and Harrel as Corporal Alexander Adams. Music in the show is from Monument Studios, as well as various artists. If you enjoy the show, be sure to subscribe or follow the Atomic Broadcasting Network on your favorite listening platform. If you want to stay in touch, you can follow us on our socials listed in the description. Join the community in our Discord server to be notified of future uploads and join in on the conversation of what's to come. Don't forget to like, comment, and tell a friend. And as always, have an atomic time.
Good job, guys.
I also
we ticked off the guy we were going to stay with.
I also checked in with Alan. Alan Haley, he runs the bar. I like Alan.
Any relation to Dan Haley?
They're brothers.
He was ready for that one.